Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to talk Authors in the Bluegrass. So this was my first ever author signing. Authors in the Bluegrass is in Lexington, Kentucky. It takes place every 2 years. So the next one is going to be in 2026 actually. But this was my first signing event, so I'm going to kind of talk about my experiences, things I learned, and just I'm going to show you all the books that I came home with. I did bring with me like 24 books to be signed. I did not film anything. That was like the least thing on my mind. I do have photos with authors that are on my Instagram, which is always linked in the description box if you want to check those out at all. But yeah, so I didn't film anything. This is just going to be me literally talking. So Authors in the Bluegrass took place. I did not get VIP. They did have VIP tickets, and you could go to like this event the Friday night before. But the event signing itself was on Saturday. It started at 1 p.m. and it went till 6 o'clock, I believe. We got there at about, probably by the time we got inside the actual building, it was like 9:30. And that was just, registration was not until 10 o'clock, I'm sorry. Registration began at 10 o'clock. And pretty much we just waited in line with everybody. There was like three separate like registration lines. Literally they were I don't know if they were taking phones or they're scanning QR codes with people's phones. I don't know. And then like you went to the next table, which was for wristbands. You also got a map. I do have stuff. Do I still have my stuff? I do. I did like keep stuff just because like I thought it would be useful. I don't have the actual like good map. I don't know where the good map is. They did give you like a nice color-coded map of like, I have the one I printed off that I color-coded myself. But theirs was like a lot nicer. There was a key up here. Like I made my own key. I pretty much did the same thing with mine, just with things specifically for like me people I wanted to see. So this is just my experience with this event. I was talking to people like standing in line, and they had other experiences, other opinions. For me, I had a very good experience. There were a couple little bumps, but like nothing that like would ruin the day for me. So wristbands, I don't know what time we got to the wristband table, but I was able to get the wristbands I wanted. Originally, my understanding was we were told that everyone was going to get a wristband for every ticketed author. Then by the time I got to the table, they were saying like, just pick which authors do you want? Do you want them all or do you want certain ones? And I only needed certain ones. I needed 4 total. And then I had my boyfriend get 2 others because the wristbanded authors only allowed 7 books a piece. And Penelope Douglas specifically only allowed 5. And I had Cora Riley and Penelope Douglas, I had more than 7 for, because Cora Riley I also had a pre-order for, which I'll get to. So I got my 4 that I wanted, and then I had him get Penelope Douglas and Cora Riley so like he could go and stand in line for me to get my stuff signed, because then like if I have my own wristband, I can meet them and that's fine. Like I don't need to go in line. I don't need to go back in line twice if he could just do it. So that was the game plan. So there was like 12 ticketed authors. We'd had 6 wristbands total. But apparently, from my understanding, they ran out of wristbands entirely by like 10:45. So there were people in line who didn't get wristbands at all. There was also a table they had set up where if you didn't need a wristband, you could leave it on the table for someone else to take if they wanted it. So I don't know. I know people were really upset about that because it's like, well, if they're a ticketed author, like how are we going to ever get to see them? But they did say, because the event ended at 6, that they would open up the ticketed author tables by 5 o'clock, and at 5 o'clock anyone could go get in line to get their stuff signed. We left by about 5:30, but they did open up. Quite a few of them actually got through their group numbers fairly quickly. I think Penelope Douglas was one that was the most chaotic table and the most I heard complaints about. And I think CM Stunich and Zoe Blake, I believe, were authors that ended up going out into the hallway after the event ended and finishing up signing for everybody because they literally, their line, Zoe Blake was on my list of authors to meet. I didn't even get a chance to meet her because I was like, I'm not, it's not that serious, to be honest. I ended up seeing, out of all of my wristbanded authors, because they did end up adding, so sometimes when the author's line gets like super long, they do end up adding wristbanded wrist tickets to authors. So like Pam Godwin ended up being a wristbanded author, which I was surprised she wasn't to begin with. Same with Sam Mariano. I was also very surprised that she was not a ticketed author to begin with. But they were added. There were a couple that were like randomly made ticketed authors, but like within like an hour or two, they were opened up again because they got through the line that quickly. I don't know. It's interesting with how they like decide who's ticketed or not. From my understanding, it was like how many pre-orders people have. But you also have to understand that like Sam Mariano had a signing exclusive of Untouchable at her table. That this pre-order for it was sold out because I was going to get the pre-order for it, but when I went to pre-order it, it was already sold out online. So she had extras at her table. People booked it to her table first. Her line when you walked in the door was ridiculous. Like it honestly blew my mind that she was not a ticketed author. But anyway, I did get to meet her. I did not have anything for her. Like I didn't have any books for her to sign, but I did have, it's up there. But I did have these. I got these, like, they're actually name tags, but I was going to use them as like book plates. So I did bring these for authors to sign if I didn't have books for them or if I didn't buy books from them. And Sam Mariano, by the time I got to her table, when it was open, there was literally nobody there. She had almost nothing left for sale. She had like a couple novellas left, but all of her stock was like wiped out. And I don't own any Sam Mariano books. I know Mystic Box has Sam Mariano as their September, October author. We didn't get those books yet. And also only one of the two is signed. So I had her sign one of these. So I'm like, oh, well, I could put this in my book that's not signed and have it signed. So that's what I did for that. But she was the only author that I ended up needing these for. So now I have like 200 of these freaking tags. I guess I'll just hold on to them. But like, I don't know. Like, probably should have like bullet pointed this. I'm just kind of going to go off on a tangent and talk about things. So yeah, ticketed wristband authors. So do I do still have them. So I still have, so you got your lanyard. And I saw a lot of people say that like it's easier to put your, this is actually Mike's lanyard, I think it is. It's Mike's lanyard. But like a lot of people said to wrap your wristband around your lanyard because that way it's always like easily accessible and you're not like, I feel like having like 12 wristbands on your arm would be a pain in the ass. So these are I told you I got him, he had to get Penelope Douglas and Cora Riley. So he was number 10, I think, for group 10 for Cora Riley. And then he was 27 for Penelope Douglas, which we never actually got to. Yeah, so I didn't get all my stuff for Penelope Douglas signed. Again, her table was the most chaotic out of all of them. But I got to see her myself because I did have a lower number. But, right, here's my lanyard. I took as I was seeing my authors, I took the wristbands off so I didn't get them all mixed up and confused. But this was my author and they had these little, I don't know what these are called. The little flag thingies that you can pick up at the author's tables. I think these were from, Harper Ashley's table, Dark Romance era, and you had my trigger warning. So I'm just definitely going to keep this as like a nice little memento. I did keep all the wristbands. Oh, they're in here. So this is, you get a lot of swag too. Like you get so much swag. Most of the authors have like free shit you can take off their table. Pens, stickers, bookmarks, business cards. Cora Kenborn had boozy gummy bears. Like she had spiked gummy bears that her sister was like, just take them, I don't want to take them home. Dark and Disturbed was a vendor there. They had a pre-order and I can't remember her name, but the owner of Dark and Disturbed was like rolling around with like a little cart that had she had these little squishy penises, little peens in them that she was giving out to people in line before we went to the event. And then she also had like a bunch of different bags of candy because she's like, during the event, she's like, please take it. She's like, I made 2,000 of these. Just, I don't want to bring them home. So there was that, which was really fun. But Dark and Disturbed, so registration, aside from the whole wristband thing, easy peasy. I love the 10 o'clock registration started. The event's not till 1. So we ended up going, and then Dark and Disturbed was a vendor that was like outside of the actual signing room. And Ghibli. I didn't go to Ghibli. They had a concession stand, and then the Dark and Disturbed was like way at the end. They didn't open until 11:30, so we went across the street. Well, where the parking lot was. We went through the parking lot, and like across the street is like a little coffee shop. We had breakfast, chilled for a little bit, met a couple people who were also at the signing, and then we walked back and waited in line for Dark and Disturbed, which I will say there was no like good signage. There were a lot of taped roots on the floor, like blue painter's tape marking like aisles, like where to stand, because they couldn't block. There was staff of the actual venue, like you can't block elevators and stairwells, and like it was a safety hazard they were trying to avoid. So there was like taped walkways for you to stand and like arrows, and like it was a whole thing, but there was no sign that says like this like section is where you is the line for the Dark and Disturbed pre-order, or like you want to start, you could shop Dark and Disturbed as well, but like there was no like thing that said this is where you stand. So it was a lot of asking, what are you in line for? What are you in line for? Is this the right line? Because they had a bunch of lines to go into the signing room as well. People were camped out, reading, hanging out, whatever to get in. So we did the Dark and Disturbed line. I did pre-order their bundle. They had a bundle of 5 books with attending authors. The only author who did not come to this signing, I forget, she had like a family emergency, was Kat Blackthorne. So, but I did get the Hollow Boys omnibus, I guess. So I think since she did not come to the signing, I believe Dark and Disturbed is actually going to be doing, possibly having book plates sent out for people who got the pre-order. Also, can we just, I love Dark and Disturbed, but I think they need to work on their formatting a little bit with their books, because look at this print. This happened with The Life of Anna as well. It's so tiny you can't read it. And I am someone who reads my special editions, because I'm not going to get, unless I already have like a regular copy on my shelf and I get the special edition, I can still read my regular copy. I'm not going to buy another copy if I already have a special edition. However, if it's on Kindle Unlimited, that's fine. But like I can read this, but after a while, my eyes are going to start to hurt. So Kat Blackthorne was the only person that actually wasn't there for the signing, and people were like so pissed that, because your books aren't pre-signed. You get your pre-order and then you go to the author's table and have them sign it. I thought this was common knowledge. I'm someone who is in the Facebook group. I read the emails that they sent out. I read the Facebook group. I looked at all frequently asked questions. Like, I'm someone who researches because I want to know what I'm doing. I want to know what's going on. I don't want to be the idiot who asks a dumb question, or the person who was in front of me in line who complained to the Dark and Disturbed lady because the book's not signed. They said it wasn't signed. I knew that going in, it wasn't signed. And like, but she's not here. What do I do? Sorry, you don't get it signed. Like, I don't, I'm sorry. I want to do, like, I get really annoyed with people like that. Like, I understand, like, you're paying a lot, like, this bundle is a lot of money. You're paying a lot of money for books, but like, they disclosed the fact that the books were not going to be signed. And Kat Blackthorne was in the Facebook group saying that she was not going to be attending the event because of a family issue or something happened. Or maybe she was stuck, one of the ones stuck in the hurricane. I forget. But like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I just find that I find it annoying. I feel like there's other things to worry about and to complain about. Anyway, the Dark and Disturbed line was super long. Picking up the pre-order was super easy though, because I got the whole, you could get as many as you wanted. I got the whole set, so they just gave me the bag and I went. I was already prepaid. I paid for everything. You could shop the Dark and Disturbed table. I did not, because I didn't want to hold the line up behind me. It was really long. It was ridiculous. But while I was at the Dark and Disturbed line, I had my boyfriend go find a space in line to get in the venue, in the room itself. So by the time, I don't even know what time it was by the time I got out of Dark and Disturbed line. It'd be there for a while. Then you just stand in line and you hang out. And then at 1:00, the doors opened. Everyone bolted to San Mariano's table. I did not. I actually went to Lauren Beale first, because I should have prepped this better. I had group number 1 for Lauren Beale. So she was my first stop. I was the first person to her table. I didn't run to her table. But I just happened to be the first person there. I got my stuff signed, and it was a fun time. That was that. And then we moved on to, I don't know what else. Trying to think, like, there's a lot of, because you're waiting for your wristband numbers to be called, like there's literally a spreadsheet. It's like a Google sheet that gets updated as they go through numbers. Like the wristbanded authors had a staff member at their table, especially like the bigger authors like Cora Riley, Penelope Douglas, Pam Godwin, had staff members at the tables kind of going through the wristband numbers. And it's weird how they do it. Not weird how they do it, but it's interesting how they do it, because they go, okay, groups 1 through 2 or 1 through 3 can go to this author's table. But like if you're say you're in group 3 or group 2 and you're in another author's line, and like that's fine, you stay in the line. It's just kind of like, okay, they called group 2, so you can go in whenever. You can go pretty much whenever. They could be in group 7. You can be like, hey, I'm group 2. Can I hop in the line? However, the problem with that is, and this happened in Penelope Douglas's line, because I was number 11, group 11. Yeah. I was group 11 for Penelope Douglas. Okay. And I was waiting. They were on like group 9 by the time I was in, like, I kept hopping to other authors' lines. If no one was there or someone had a short line, I went and checked them out. So they called group 11 for Penelope Douglas. I went over there and there was a whole ton of people kind of like hovering around her table. The employee that was there was one of the ones that was kind of like a little aggressive. But I was group 11. I said, I'm in group 11. There were people from group 9 who were just showing up. People from group 6 who were just showing up. People who didn't have wristbands at all, who were trying to hop in line. Plus the VIPs. Now the VIPs had priority because they were VIP. They paid to have priority, which pissed people off because they had never heard of VIP having priority in line, which I assumed that's the point of VIP. It wasn't just like the party on Friday night. Like you got, I don't know. But it was chaos because there was, I guess the person called groups 9 and 10 or whatever, and nobody came over. So she went to the next number. Now all of a sudden you have everybody coming over at once because they were in other authors' lines doing something else when the number was called and didn't get over right away. But because you already had a previous, like a smaller number, like you're still like able to like get in line. But because there were so many people blocking aisleways and stuff, they were like trying to like, it was a little bit chaotic. It was a little bit chaotic because they were turning people away, telling them to come back later. But like when you come back later, they're going to be on a different number. And like then people from those numbers are going to be showing up, and like you're coming back and you may be turned away again because there's not enough room for you in line. It was a whole thing. That was like the whole like debacle, especially Penelope Douglas was the worst as far as I'm aware. It was the most I saw people complaining about online. I got in line. I got my book signed. I got my photo. This poor woman, they looked exhausted. It was such a crazy, like, I think people underestimate the popularity of certain authors if they're going, especially if they're going by pre-order. Like, in my brain, I didn't have a pre-order for Penelope Douglas because I already own most of her books. I don't need to pre-order anything unless it's a special signing exclusive that you can only get at the signing, which is pretty much what I did. Penelope Douglas was like one of the ones that I'm like, she's the main person I want to see. There was probably about 4 or 5 total that I actually like really wanted to see, plus all the authors I wanted to have pre-orders from. But yeah, so that was kind of the little debacle with like wristbanded authors and stuff like that. But for the most part, like a couple of the people that were like maintaining the line did pretty good. Cora Riley's line wasn't terrible. Zoe Blake's line I wasn't Zoe Blake, it was Molly Doyle. Molly Doyle's line was the one that was ridiculous. Zoe Blake was not. Zoe Blake was over here. Anytime I mentioned Zoe Blake's line, it was Molly Doyle's line. Her line constantly was ridiculous. And I believe she was the one that also went out into the hallway at the end of the night to finish signing because her line was crazy. She was the one I didn't get to meet. Zoe Blake I did get to meet. Not Molly Doyle. Never mind. I'm looking at the map and I'm like, wait, because she was the one by Cora Riley. Yeah, it was Molly Doyle. The other Dark and Disturbed Molly Doyle one is the one that I didn't see her. I didn't get this signed. This is the bind up of Order of the Unseen. So this is Scream for Us, Bloodshed, and Melt for Us. This is the, again, signing exclusive. So if I see her at another event, But like this one has normal sized. It's smaller, but it's like a normal size type. Like I can read this. Anyway, so that was the other Dark and Disturbed pre-order. I don't know what else. What else should we talk about? Oh, I was really bad about picking up swag, the free stuff on the table. Mike was actually the one picking up all the stuff. Like unless they gave it to me in my pre-order like goodie bag, I was not thinking to like grab the stuff. Cause again, stickers, pens, whatever. I have a shit ton of. There was. It's just funny because like this was both of our first signings, and Mike wasn't the only boyfriend that was around. There was a couple other husbands, boyfriends going around, and there's the amount of NSFW art prints that were just like out, and they're just penises everywhere. Like it was great. It made me love the romance community just so much better because I think romance authors have a lot of fun with what they write, and it's a lot of fun with their marketing, which is entertaining. And it felt like a good time overall. Like every author I met, Penelope Douglas looked exhausted. They had a complete honest reason to be. But like every other author I met was like so excited to meet you. And like I was really I wasn't as nervous as I thought I was going to be, but because I always get nervous, like what am I gonna say to them? I don't know what to say. Like especially if I went to see an author that like I had never read before. I had never actually heard of a couple authors I'd never actually heard of, but I walked up to their table anyway because there was nobody there, and I was just curious, or I had like heard of them at least and kind of had some idea of who they were, but like I never read anything by them, and like, or I had copies of books to get signed that I hadn't actually read yet. I had every intention of reading them before the signing, didn't get to them, which was that was a little bit of a like, I think it was Lauren Beale. I actually brought my copy of Captured and Hitched. And I read Hitched, but I didn't read Captured. She goes, oh, did you read Captured? How did you like it? And I was like, I haven't gotten to it yet. So I felt like really like weird, awkward doing that. But they were just like, oh, okay. Like it's not like a big deal. Like they are not like phased by it. And I think a lot of them are they're excited to meet a reader as like a reader is to meet the author, which shouldn't blow my mind, but it does. Like how like there were authors that like a couple of the ones that had nobody at their table. When I walked up to the table, they were like, oh hi, like do you have any questions? And I had a really good conversation with Janice Whitaker. I was waiting in line for Marin Moore, and I was like back behind her table, and Janice Whitaker just happened to be like right next to me, and I noticed there was nobody there, and I was like, I told Mike to wait in line. I actually had to wait in the longer lines while I ran to the authors that had no line or short lines. And she was one that had no line. And I had remembered there was a book I wanted to read by her. It was on my TBR. It's in my Kindle. It was like The Cowboy and the Convict. Like she wrote some kind of cowboy series. So I went over there because I was like, oh, there's nobody here. Let me go see if she has maybe the copy to buy. And I had a good conversation with her. Like I got some free stickers. I bought a couple books. Oh yeah. Here's the books I bought for her. So she didn't have Cowboy and the Convict, but she did have the first one in the series, which was Cowboy Seeking Nanny, which is a widowed father and a nanny, and it sounds really good. Cowboy Classifieds is what the series is called. And again, got it signed. I got all mine personalized as well, if the author was able to do that. Penelope Douglas was only personalizing one book per person. The rest just got a signature, which was fine. I don't know. I feel really weird about just having the author sign their name. I like having it personalized to me. I don't know why. Like I feel, because there were a lot of people. I don't know if they were resellers. I don't want to be judgy. One of the ladies in the Cora Riley line had like 4 copies of the signing exclusive that she was getting signed. And I was like, do you need 4 copies? Are you picking them up for people, or are you reselling them online? Which, don't even get me started on the resellers things. I've already seen copies of The Dark and Disturbed for like, I think this was like $200 to pay. There was 5 books. It was $200 for the bundle, and people are reselling them for like $500, like $500. Or individually, like this, I think they were selling the Halloween Boys. I think I saw for $100. One of them was like $80. I'm just like, come on, y'all, really? Like I'm one of those people that if I'm gonna spend that kind of money on a book, like I am gonna cherish it. Like it's goes in my collection. I don't know. I can't imagine selling something just to sell it, just to make money. I feel like people go to signings just to get books signed, just to resell them and say they're signed copy, like hand signed copies, because they're worth more money. but like I don't like, it gives me the ick a lot. So like when I get it personalized, it's like, it's for me. Like I am going to read this book. I'm going to keep this book and cherish this book. If I have to sell it, it's because I either didn't like it or I need the money, essentially. Like if it's something is signed to me, I met this author, I spoke to this author, I had a conversation with this author, I now follow them on Instagram. She follows me back, actually. Like, I am not going to sell your book because it has your signature in it for more money than what I paid for it. That's just me. People, you do you. Anyway, so I got this one from Janice Whittaker. And then she actually talked me into, now I'm not a monster romance girly normally. She talked me into getting this. It sounds interesting. I was curious. She was so excited when I said, give me a copy of this and this. Like, so this is like a Bigfoot. This is a Bigfoot romance, which I'm very curious about. I'm very curious. She did tell me that she's like, I failed as an author because apparently they don't have sex while he's in his like Bigfoot beast form. It's like a shifter. He's like a Bigfoot shifter or something. But he's like, they don't do it while he's in his beast form. So she's like, I failed as a writer because I guess that made readers like a little bit like, why did I don't know. I'm curious about it. This is a series, I believe. The Bog series, or yeah, it's called Mountain Calling. I don't know. I'll read it though. I'll read it and then I'll message her and tell her what I thought. So there was a couple of instances like that where I would just leave Mike in line in a long line and go hop to other authors. So, because Maren Moore was also a wristbanded author, but like by the time I got to her line, I mean, I did wait until they were up to number 15. But when I got in the line, nobody was checking my wristband. Like most other authors, they were looking to see what number you were to make sure that you were supposed to be in this line. But yeah, so like her line was super long. Nobody was checking wristbands though. So like I was like hopping tables as Mike was standing in line for Maren Moore. One of the other authors that I hopped tables to, I believe, yes, was Bryn Ford. So I did get a copy of Counts of Eight. This is an author I haven't read before, but I wanted to listen. Actually, this book is on Hoopla, and I wanted to listen to it before the signing. I didn't get to it. So I did get a copy of this while I was there, so I can finally read it. What other author did I hop to? Oh, I hopped to Monty J, but I had a thing for them to sign. So yeah, Greer Rivers, I also hopped to their table, but I had a book for them to sign already. I did meet a lot of authors. I met a lot more authors than what I have in this like haul pile to show you, because I brought books for them to sign and I didn't buy books at their table. But yeah, so okay. I don't know what else to talk about. So we're just gonna go through this little haul. Not little haul. It's actually quite a big haul. So the rest of the Dark and Disturbed bundle. So just to reiterate, we had Molly Doyle's Order of the Unseen bind up, and we had Halloween Boys by Cat Blackthorn bind up. The other books in that bundle were Sweet Cruelty by Zoe Blake. This one I did get signed. This one's not personalized. I didn't get a chance. Like some of them, like I put stickies in all the books I wanted personalized, but because I got these at the event, I didn't have my sticky in it with my name on it, and I had my lanyard it had my name on it, but like it was not a Sharpie that you could read. So this one's not personalized, but it is signed. But I'm not going to sell it because I want to read it. The other one we have is Pan Godwin. This is actually 2 books. So we have Dirty Ties, and then Incentive as well. So this is both books in one. And this one, yeah. So this one is also signed and personalized to me. And these are 2 books by her that I don't own and haven't read. So that'll be interesting. And the text isn't readable. But we have that one. And the last one in the Dark and Disturbed bundle, which is the one that I saw the person had like 4 copies of, and that is Sweet Temptation by Cora Riley. And I do not have, I thought I had a paperback copy of this, but I actually don't. And then she did sign and personalize that one for me. So Cora Riley, again, was an author that I had my boyfriend get in line for and have books signed. And his number was a lower number than mine. So he was in her line first. And he came back and he was like, I'm in line. He's like, she signed everything. And she signed him to you because I guess she asked if it was like for a girlfriend or a wife. And he was like, yeah. And he had like a little conversation with her. So that was nice. He's also like me, where like it's a little awkward to like talk to random people, which was a lot of what was happening. As you're standing in line, you kind of talk to the people around you. A lot of people have stuff they bring to like trade or give away. Like there was a lot of people giving away stickers. People made friendship bracelets, like little trinkets and things. That was a little bit too much for me to try to deal with, but apparently that is a thing people do at signings. The rest of the Cora Riley pre-orders I had was the rest of the Kimura Chronicles in these out of print covers. When I tell you, I was so excited that I saw these were on her pre-order site, because I have books 1 and 3 in these covers. Twisted Loyalty and Twisted Pride, which are the ones I gave to Mike to go have signed. And I think, so these ones, because they were the pre-order, she didn't personalize, but the ones that he brought, like that I brought from home, my cat is on the chair, she personalized. Again, I have no intention of reselling these though, so like, because I've been trying to collect these forever, and they're no longer on Amazon. Like, trying to find the out of print covers is just, and I really like these. I actually need to finish reading this series. I read the first 3 books. I need to read the rest of them. So yeah, those are the rest of my Cora Riley pre-orders. What else? Ava Hunter had a beautiful pre-order signing edition of Baby Moon or Bust, which I did listen to, and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. It comes with a bookmark, and it was signed. This is another author that I brought my copies of Tame the Heart and Rope the Moon to have signed, and she asked if I had read them yet, and I was like, no, not yet. So I was a little bit like, but I really do want to read them. Like, they were like higher on my list of priorities of things to read. I just literally ran out of time. But this is a beautiful like edition of this book. Like, I listened to it on audio and Hoopla when I did it. So, but I do have to say, her assistant for the event was Jess from Peace Love Books, and let me tell you, I was more nervous to walk up to this table and talk to Jess than I was to see any other author at this signing event. I literally like had nerves. I love her channel. Hers was the first romance channel I ever found in like 2017, 2018. I still get majority of my recs from her. I got my first recs from her. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. And there was literally nobody else at the table. I think there was one person in front of me at the table, and I was so nervous to be like, hi, I'm Java the Book Junkie. I messaged you a couple times on Instagram. I don't know if you remember me. I just want to tell you I love your channel so much. Like, I was so nervous. I was going to ask for a photo. I was like so nervous I didn't even think about it, but I really would have liked to get a photo with her because I'm a fan. So Jess, if you happen to, I think she did follow me on Instagram, but like, I don't know if she ever sees my channel. I really don't post on it a whole lot for like it to be worth following. But if you see this, Jess, it was so nice to finally meet you in person. And now you know I'm a nervous wreck, and you were so nice. And there we go. Okay. Anyway, we're going to stop there. Okay. Next we have another pre-order. I have No Place to Hide by Harper Ashley and Ren Hawthorne. I love the foil covers. They're so pretty. I also love the purple in this. I did read this. It was a time. I don't remember if I have this in a route or not. I'll have to double check. But it comes with the said NSFW art print, that I was like, these things are all over the place. And it was signed and personalized up top there. So that's always fun. Oh, there's 2 art prints. There's another one. I might have to blur this out because it's YouTube. Sorry. I guess we'll see if I get in trouble or not. If they flag me. I don't know. I've never had stuff flagged before, so I guess we'll find out. Also, Harper Ashley was super nice. Super nice. All of these authors were super nice to talk to. Like, no one was like... it was fun. I had fun. Okay, Cora Kenborn, another pre-order from her. She had a bunch of goodies that she handed out. She also was the one that had the spiked gummy bears. But I did have pre-order from her, so I did get the full Carrera Cartel trilogy. So we have, that's not the first one, Blurred Red Lines, which I did read. I did listen to that one. Did she personalize? I think she did personalize all these as well. Yeah. Yeah. So personalized, and then we have Drawn Blue Lines, which again, personalized. And then Faded Gray Lines. These aren't signing exclusives, I don't think. These were just pre-order. I just wanted to have, I was getting pre-orders. I think these were probably the ones that weren't, these are just like the discreet special covers, whatever. They weren't signing exclusives, I don't think. She also gave you a free, in her little swag bag, I got a free little novella called Blacklisted. No idea what it's about. But that's nice. It's not signed, but I don't care. So that's fun. Yeah, her table was a lot of fun. So we got Nicole Green was another author. This is an author that I was aware of. I had one of her books. I think I had Promise Me Never on my Kindle to read before the event, and I never actually got to it. So while I was there, I got myself a copy of it. It's actually a duet, so I do have both. Oh, this one's not personalized either. So I did get both books in the duet. So we have Promise Me Never and Promise You Forever. And then this one, so these were like small town, whatever. I don't know if they're cowboy romance. Yeah, Heartstone Ranch, like small town cowboyish romances that I'm really curious to read. Her assistant was there. She was at the bathroom at the time, so I was talking to her assistant, and her assistant said this one is her dark romance, and it's like a stalker romance. And I said, oh, I didn't know about this book existed, so let me get a copy of that too. And fine. Painted in the Shadows, Society of Seven, Book 1. So apparently it's a series. They only had this one there, but I'm curious, intrigued. Jen Stevens had a signing exclusive pre-order, the Parallel Prey duet. So it's books 1 and 2. I don't know. I could take with these bright edges. They're so pretty. I did see pictures of this online, but yes, this one's signed and personalized up top here. Multiverse. I don't know much about this series. It's dark romance. There's a whole paragraph of trigger warnings, which we love to see. But I don't remember what the name of the books are. It just says Parallel Prey Duet, but I don't remember the names of the books that are in the duet. But yeah, so I have that to read. And then this is the one I was actually really excited for. I mean, I was excited for The Dark and Disturbed, but this one also is Hell House by Dakota Wilde. I don't think this is a signing exclusive specifically. It's a special edition, but like you can't really buy it, the hardcover. So I had to buy it off of her pre-order site. But this one is a sign. I did read. What book do I have by her? Truth or Dare? Yeah. I did read Truth or Dare, and I brought that to be signed as well, and that one has a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. But this is like, I think this is like a dark academia, the 7 Deadly Sins want to come out to play. I think it's a college, dark college romance, or an academy. Killdale Academy series, book 1. So it's like a dark academia, I guess. I don't know. But, and it came with a bookmark. And I think this one, I had Mike grab prints for this. Like, I have prints, but some of them I don't remember what the books they're for. So this one, oh yeah, this one is from Truth or Dare, because it says it on the back. And then this is not from this Hell House. This is from book 2, Queens of Hell House, which I don't have. But so prints. And then I got one from her other Feed the Birds, which I don't know anything about that book, but we had a lot of fun prints. I think this was also from Truth or Dare. I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. But I have so many bookmarks too. Like, I'm not going to show you all the swag and stickers I got. Like, there's just so much of it. But yeah, so I'm really excited for this one. Okay. Finally, the last author I went to was V. Taylor, and I had a fun conversation with her as well. So one of the books, I got 2 books by her. The first one I got was One Chance, which is book 1 of the Marchetti Men series. I believe it's Mafia. I think it's Mafia. I don't know. It's dark romance. She signed it. Obviously, I keep saying that it's signed. That's the whole reason I went to this thing. But I had a conversation with her, and I was looking at this one, Into the Darkness. Like, I was looking at her little like price sheet, and this one was on there, and they didn't have a paperback copy left, so I ended up getting the special like hardback signing exclusive because that's all they had. And apparently book 2 of this comes out in like a week from the day I'm filming. No, it might have been out already, because it's been over a week already since this event that I'm filming this. So it's probably, I think it might have come out either this week or it comes out next week. So I got this one, and I forget what she told me it was about. However, I was having the conversation with her because I had this one on my Kindle because I wanted to read it. Again, didn't get to it. She told me, do you mind if I recommend you read this one first? And I said, oh, okay. And she goes, and then message me and tell me what you think. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, interesting. I will do that eventually when I get to it. I have so many books that I got to read. I'm trying to read books before Indies Invade Philly. So like, I'm trying to like prioritize things, but there's just so many books here that I got, like this one, that I want to read like so bad, especially because they were authors that I had good conversations with and interesting conversations with. And I feel like when I read their books, I can message them and be like, hey, I met you at Authors in the Bluegrass. You really like talked up your book. I really enjoyed it. If I don't enjoy it, I just message them. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I really want to have like, start having like conversations like that with the authors on Instagram, because now that I've interacted with them in person, I feel like it's more of a possibility to hop into their messages online. You know what I mean? Even if they don't answer me, just say something. I always feel really weird about doing that, especially with like the bigger authors, because I feel like they have a social media team that no one ever, like, they don't ever see your messages. But like these smaller indie authors, like Janice Whitaker was like so excited and so happy that I came to her table and was like so excited to talk about her books to me. I mean, every author is like that, but like, I'm like, okay, like I want to read you now. I'm going to move you up higher on my list of things I want like to read, and like I will message you and engage and like talk about your books. And I really want to be able to do that. I need to read faster and more often. I'm spending a lot of time doing other things. But yeah, like I had a good experience. I had a pleasant experience. I met the authors I wanted to meet, except for Molly Doyle. And I met new authors, and I was introduced to new authors, and I was very not nervous. Like, I thought I would be nervous about walking up to a table and just talking to an author, and I really wasn't, which is surprising, because I'm very much an introvert, and I don't like, but it was fun, and it was a good experience, and I think that I will be going to more in the future, assuming it's possible to do it. I didn't realize Philly had one. I would have been going for years. But like Authors in Bluegrass is like all the way in Kentucky. Like, we have to make like a vacation out of it. Or like there's other ones like around, like in Vegas, there's in Seattle, there's in Chicago, Atlanta I think has one, wherever, there's ones all over the place. But I think if it's feasible in the future, especially monetary wise, I would love to go to more. It's just a fun experience. Again, there were people around me in line who were complaining and bitching the whole time, like about how disorganized it was, and they should be doing things differently, and why is it like this, and blah blah blah, nobody knows what's going on. And I was just like, I'm sorry you're having such a awful time. But again, this was my first signing, so to me now, my like, I, even though it might not have been a flawless experience, like I have an understanding of how things are going to work. I literally told the lady in front of me, I was like, this is my first signing. She goes, oh, I'm so sorry. Like because it wasn't that well put together or organized. She goes, well, this one was a lot more like, and she was talking about other signings she's been to where they were a lot better. And I'm like, okay, like I understand, like if you go to a lot of signings a year, you compare and contrast, and some might be better done than others, like whatever. I did hear that Readers Take Denver this past year was an utter disaster, and authors told me that. But I had authors tell me that Authors in the Bluegrass was such a well-organized and put-on event. So, like, I don't know. It's really a completely subjective experience for event attendees. I had a good time. I had a fun time running around and meeting different authors. My feet hurt afterwards. And it was a long day. It was a very long day, and we didn't eat. We ate breakfast at 10:30-ish, closer to 11 o'clock, and then we didn't eat again until after 6, because we left the event about 5:30-ish, and then there was another event I really wanted to go to. It was the Darkness into Light at the Liberty Festival at the Kentucky Horse Park, and I wanted to go to that. I got tickets for that. That started at 7. Thankfully, they had food. They had concession stands there, so we got food there. But like that was all we ate all day, and it was just such a tiring and very long day. But it was a lot of fun. I would do it again, especially because it takes place again in 2 years. So like there's enough time to prep for an event like that. But yeah, I have been talking for almost an hour. So I don't know what else to like mention, to talk about. Cora Kenburn had a nice goodie bag of stuff, lots of fun things. Cart. I was gonna talk about my book cart. This is the book cart I brought. You also get a shit ton of tote bags if you have pre-orders or buy a lot of books. Like you get tote bags from the authors, which actually came in handy. I had this little rolly cart. I ended up taking the top off of it because the top was just a pain in the ass because you're constantly going in your car reorganizing books, trying to get the right ones out. And I didn't want to like take too long, like trying to blocking people. But I have so many tote bags now, it's crazy. And I think I saw a lot of people had like stickers on their cart, so I think all of the stickers that I picked up or that Mike picked up at the tables, I'm gonna decorate my cart with. Someone had like toolboxes that were like stacked on top of each other. I'm like, y'all are crazy. But yeah, so this cart actually worked out really well. It rolls really, really nicely. And we did get a little thing to put on it to like put like extra markers, and I had my map sitting. I had like a little pocket in the back, so I had my map sitting in the back. I was a little bit prepared. I did watch Jess from Peace Love Books actually has like a signing kind of a guide to help you with your signing. So I watched that twice actually, and took ideas and tips from her. So I had all of my pre-orders listed. All of the colored ones are the wristbanded authors and the color of the wristband that I had. So like you could see like Penelope Douglas was the pink. Like I color coded. I had all of my pre-orders that I needed. If I had paid them, normally you have to pay them before the event. Penelope Douglas said that she had some unpaid pre-orders that they were going to be doing. You could pay at the table, but like not everyone was like that. And so originally this had authors that like books they wanted to get to read before the event. And then as the event, like the day before or 2 days before the event, before we left for vacation, because this was at the end of our vacation that we had this event, I marked down all of the books I was going to bring to be signed. And then I had the Dark and Disturbed bundle I had, which ones, like this was the D&D. So like I didn't bring that with me. I had to get it from Dark and Disturbed and would have it for the event. Narrators were the only thing I didn't get to. I had them listed. I brought books. If I didn't have a copy of the book that they narrated, I brought one with me. I did not see any narrators. Unfortunately, I didn't stop. I think in Philly that might be different. I may make it a point to see narrators because I think Philly I have less authors that I want to see. However, most of the authors I want to see are wristbanded. So we'll see how they do their wristband situation. But they are doing groups, I believe, because they have an app that you can download. I'll do another video for that one, for that event, and see, and we'll kind of like see how it compared to this one, since it'll be my second one in a month, and both of them will be pretty fresh. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. In this video. If you guys want to know anything more about my experience at my first ever signing, if you have any questions or anything, again, I'm not a seasoned pro, someone who's new, but I learned a lot of things along the way. And I learned that I'm just there to have a good time. Like, I was able to see, again, most everyone I wanted to see. And people were warned you that you're not going to be able to see everybody. And it's like, okay, but depends on how you go about it. And again, with the wristbanded authors, like Mike didn't, if I would have had Mike's wristband for Penelope Douglas, I probably wouldn't have been able to see her. So it depends. It definitely depends on person, your individual experiences. But for me, it was a good experience. I would go back. I would. But yeah. So if you have any questions down below, you want to talk about, comments, anything about your signing experiences that you had, good, bad, ugly, whatever, let me know. Leave them down in the comments below. And again, my Instagram, if you want to see any photos of me with authors, they're on the Instagram. And that's gonna be it for this video. And my puppy dog, I just realized, has been laying in the frame like the whole time. You listen to mommy talk? She's so cute. Okay, I'm gonna go now. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.